Hey everyone. I made it back last night from Israel after a gruelingly rushed trip home. I was scheduled to fly back overnight Monday, which is today as I'm recording this, because I wanted a full final day in the old city. So I would have arrived Tuesday. But once things began to heat up in the north with Hezbollah, several of my trusted friends advised me I should probably leave, not so much for safety, but because any kind of retaliation or back and forth between Israel and Hezbollah could end up closing the Ben Gurion airport. So nobody knows what will happen. And at 11 p.m. on Sunday night, I was advised just go to the airport and get whatever flight you can and pick up your connection that you would have taken on Monday. So that's what I did. I flew to Madrid nonstop, and then I was able to get my connection on to Charlotte. So I arrived a day early, and I appreciate many of you asking how things were and was I in any danger or whatever. Once I got to Madrid, I had to rush to get the Monday Madrid flight. Remember, mine was scheduled for Tuesday the next day. They had one seat left. So I was on the phone with American Airlines trying to grab that one seat, but it was a kind of a catch-22 because to get that seat, I'd have to give up my reservation for Tuesday that I'd already had, and you can't switch unless you want to buy two tickets. And so I said, well, how long do I have? They said 20 minutes, you can make it fine. Ended up being at the end of the terminal. It was probably seriously comical to see me run to the gate with my luggage. Of course, the gate was the last one in the terminal. If you've ever been to the Madrid airport, it's beautiful, but the terminals are way far off with endless escalators. And I didn't even use the escalators because I can run faster than the escalator. Anyway, I made it, sat in my seat and said, thank God I'm on the flight home and don't have to wait overnight in an airport for 12 hours. So here I am on Tuesday in Charlotte, happily home. The trip was 24 hours total. No real sleep because I really don't sleep very well in airplane economy seats. So the last day cut short a fabulous trip. And I'll be reporting to you about the trip. It was really amazing, new discoveries, new insights. I spent the first 7 days with the filmmaker Simca Jacobovici, the Emmy Award winning filmmaker. Some of you might know his series, Naked Archaeologist. It started before COVID. I think he had 3 seasons, and then, of course, it shut down like many TV series did. But now it's revived, and we started the pilot episode, and he asked me to be the main guest. And guess what the title is? It's My Thing, The Quest for the Historical Pole. So we had 2 cameras going, we had a drone, we were at Caesarea, Qumran, Tiberias, and way up north by Tzfat, which is the northern part of the country, looking at some ancient first century tombs near a place called Ein Zaytim. And I've got some news on that. I mentioned this in my book, The Jesus Dynasty, but I'm not going to elaborate it all now. You'll get reports on it as we go along. And Simca and I were also able to sort through a lot of things related to the Talpiot tombs and future research that we want to do. I spent an afternoon with Oded Galan. Some of you might know that name. He's the owner of the James Ossuary, who was charged by the Israel Antiquities Authority with forging that inscription, or at least part of it. 7-year trial, and all the charges were dropped. He was judged not guilty, which I guess doesn't mean technically he's not a forger, but it means there was no evidence, persuasive evidence that he is or was. And I know him well, and I guarantee you he did not forge that inscription. And all of the scientific tests have made that clear, no matter what you hear people say. I'm going to talk about a new book that's out that gives all of the technical tests and all of the results, and it's unquestionable. Now, whether it's the bone box or ossuary of James, the brother of Jesus of Nazareth, or as Simca says, maybe it was Jesus, a baker who lived at that time, but I think it's pretty likely that it was Jesus of Nazareth and that it came from a tomb that has other ossuaries associated with the family of Jesus. One thing special about this trip, I mentioned it in the last video, this is my 75th trip to the Holy Land. And so Shimon Gibson, my archaeologist partner at the Mount Zion Dig, the Suba Cave, and other projects, arranged for a little cookout in my honor to celebrate my 75th anniversary, I guess you could say. And I also did a lot of walking. I filmed for 7 days and then I had 3 days free in the old city of Jerusalem. I measure my walks with my Apple Watch and I log 5.3 miles on Saturday. Technically, that's violating the Sabbath day's journey, I say with a chuckle, but the rabbis actually have defined Jerusalem, the whole city, as the dwelling. So when the Torah says you can't go out of your dwelling, you can go anywhere in Jerusalem. I don't follow rabbinic law, but it's just interesting. And everybody walks everywhere. The second day, Sunday, and I had no idea I was leaving that night, I walked 9.1 miles and went to all sorts of sites and visited archaeological digs, basically catching up because since COVID and the war, I've been back twice since COVID, but it was with the tour group. And this was the first time I just had 3 free days to follow the things that I work on and meet with friends and a lot of coffee clutches. In Israel, you have coffee a lot of times a day with your friends meeting and catching up. So I'm going to be sharing details on YouTube. If you're interested in all the inside stuff, you can check out my research group, Patreon group. It's just patreon.com/James D. Tabor. And different from other Patreons, I'm not trying to raise money with it. I have a different philosophy about Patreon. You know how you set up these tiers, like if you give $5 a month, you get this, and 25 and 100 and 500. Everybody gets the same because people have different means, but some want to give to support my research. I call it my Tabor Research Community. Some of my expenses on the trip were supported by that funding. But the lowest tier is only $5. And that's just to separate general public and bots and trollers from coming into the group and causing disturbances. And I meet monthly on Zoom with the members and I share more of the inside material. And it's a diverse, fantastic group of people, lots of different viewpoints, no dogmas. So anyway, that's the update. I'll throw in a few photos. I'm not using the video because I look a little jet lagged today and I'm just getting back to normal. But I wanted you all to know that I'm back in the USA and I have a lot of things coming up to tell you. So take care, everybody. And I'll see you a little later this week with some new videos.